World, a program that we have produced for you and for different channels and social media. But we have for now LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And please, I would like to start by asking a favor to everybody who's watching, and is to subscribe on the YouTube channel. So please go to the YouTube channel. You type my name, Andre Politzer, and you will get to the channel itself, and you can have also, I think, a link on the website. And please subscribe. We really need subscriptions. This way, we can do better content. We can have very quality guests and offer really incredible content. So that's what I wanted to tell you, and that's the housekeeping side of it. Tonight, I wanted to address a short, little talk about no more than 15 minutes, really, about what we experience in coaching, especially with people who are at work, right, at different positions of leadership, but really, I would say all level of leadership, up to the top and middle management. What's going on for the last few months, especially when things are a little bit smoothing out with the COVID situation, and where we start realizing that life changed, of course, but to the extent at work that there is many people who work from home. Now, when people work from home, I think there is an opportunity for them that they might miss, because many of them do, of realizing how autonomous they are and really can manage their time and, in fact, their life in a much, much more spacey way. That really you get some freedom to the extent that time, interactions, uh, projects, and things that you want, especially to do with your own world, your family, your close friends, can be done this way in a total different manner. Now, this is the advantage of it. And if you have the privilege to have a spacious home or apartment and be where you can dedicate that space also for work and the other spaces for personal life, then many, many things can be done. And if this is not the case, still, you can also restart your life in a different way. So, what the coaching happens to be about is this very point. We can change things because we own more of our time and more of our decisions, even if we did own that before, more than we thought. Here, it's a total obvious situation. You're home, you do not commute anymore, and much less constraints about time as well. Yeah, you have to attend that meeting on Thursday. You have to attend, this and that. And if you really calculate, and this is what the first question is I'm always asking, how much in percentage is the time that you feel is your obligated time where you have no choice, it's not negotiable? Most of the people, I did not do my statistics yet, but most of the people will probably situate this above 60%, 40%, sorry, 40% of their time being an obligation, a mandatory time that they owe to their company, to their employer, to their boss about that meeting. Of course, they're going to work much more than 40%, but this is 40% of non-autonomous time where they are dependent. That's an average. Now, some other, type of jobs call for, unfortunately, much more, or some type of companies are more demanding and have higher expectations. But in an average, 40% is a good number. You should really keep in mind as a goal that it is a good balance of time that you owe, that is not really your decision to make about, and you are joining a meeting or have to be at this weekly management meeting or whatever that your boss wants, or other things that you have to do. And maybe it's something that happens every week, every day, can happen every month. Look at the frequency of what is in there, and this is how you can manage your time, by knowing what is blocked in your calendar. Very simple, right? Now, I didn't promise another theme for tonight. It was about how do you change the world, all of you individually. And I start with this new virtual world because this is totally on purpose. I want you to realize, and me realizing in the same time, that when I coach people and they're home and they work from home and they realize how much they own this situation, that they are in fact running their time and everything like they run their own business, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm totally shocked how much they don't realize it. Again, I repeat myself because I tell you it's shocking. And once they realize that, what happens? Then we can start talking about relationships. We can start talking about meaningful time, quality time, work-life balance, all of the different themes that, of course, are so important, crucial, vital to improve the quality of life. When we went through so much in a period of 2 years, where people that we know that were very close, died or got very sick and suffered a lot. All this suffering, all those tragedies, and all of these the things that have happened needed a lot of support. And guess what? There's other things than professional support. Of course, you got or support groups and all of that for people who are really in the midst of crisis or are still going through that. But what I want to say is that the workplace becoming a little bit different because it's home gives a lot of possibilities for people to connect in a different way. They can connect more frequently, and they can connect, in fact, also in a very free kind of way, because it's easier to schedule, or it's easier to put different people together from different part of the world in one space, which would be a Zoom or Teams or whatever, and be together and share that time together. It's not the same as being in the same room, but that now comes back a little bit. So we'll talk about it in a few minutes. But I just want to bring you to this new paradigm where a leader, especially someone who has an influence, can really show a lot of mindfulness, and that the person cares a lot for the other. Because when you open up, and or you decide, with your mindset that the time you're going to spend now on a one-on-one or with a small group of people is going to be about something meaningful, or you're going to listen to people's problems, what they want to voice out to you as leaders or supervisors or whatever, and then you're going to open your door to something totally new that you did not do before, especially in the office space. You didn't have the time or you didn't have the mind to open that door, but the door of your heart and the door of the physical door, that space you create with people, a space of trust, of freedom, in a way where people feel comfortable sharing things with you that can be about anything, personal or professional, but that they find now in front of them someone who is extremely available, who has undivided time, who in fact touches really to greatness by being so mindful and so caring. This is more possible in that kind of space. And I just want to suggest that you think about it, because we all are individual worlds we are a world by itself. We carry on our past, our experiences, and we can help, we can coach, we can support people. Just by listening to them, we can relate to things and give them really wise advice. But especially before we get to the advice, to any wisdom or anything, it's the presence, and it is the availability, and it is the undivided time. And in any case, this is improving potentially not only the relationship, the interaction, but your influence, the impact that you have on this person, how much you can inspire that person, and maybe change that person's life. So this happened about, I think, 3 weeks ago. It was a conflictual situation. A supervisor had a team of about 12 people with his weekly meetings with everyone. Had a big situation here that was really hard to coach, because this was about someone who was very toxic in the team. And each time they would meet, that person would really be very, confrontational, uh, unnecessarily, usually not very necessary, but there was not even a reason. Would come with a bad mood, with a bad attitude, and with after the meeting continue that, and then start gossiping and all kind of things with the other colleagues. So there was a challenge for the leader here, that it had to happen, that something, you know, had to stop. Now, on the coaching side, we just had to lay down all the facts, all the words that were used a little bit, to understand that it was toxic, and that now the boundaries that this client of mine, the manager, had to create was an iron bound, a wall of iron, literally, rejecting that toxicity 100%, and facing that person eye to eye and saying the bad impact that person had in the team, and that it had, in fact, gone for a while in the relationship and for the team. And because it happened for so long, this became really, how can I say, pretty bad. Pretty bad. The team was less productive. There was different ramifications with other teams and with results and performance. All of that was so negative that something had to happen, and fast. What I want to mention here is that the one-on-one that happened after that between this person who was so negative and my client was a revolution, because we took this from another perspective. The perspective of, first of all, understanding why that person was so negative, understanding that there were some different things that privately this person was going through, definitely, that we could approach this with empathy and a lot of compassion. But at the end of the day, we had to set some rules and conditions for this to stop, and recreate another platform for the relationship to start and to happen also with the other team members. So this process took about 3.5 weeks. Uh, Excuse me, 2.5 weeks. Sorry, until that person apologized to everybody, and that person changed. And there was also some different things that happened in between, where she was coached to smile, to bring warmth to the meeting, to be caring for others, and to transform the whole dynamic. Now, it sounds like a very simple thing. It was, again, carried on and carried on a very conflictual, very, you know, frictional situation. The tension was such that those people were leaving the meeting room each week completely depressed. So, can you imagine that I'm talking now about something that happened in one room physically, you know, with the presence of everybody, and that we also changed that to a virtual event, and that this also supported the whole change and the whole transformation. So it's a little bit of a story that illustrates two things. One, the caring of the manager, of opening the door to listen to that person's negativity. Why? The source, if that person would be able to share it. There was all kind of reasons that I'm not, in fact, here to bring, because I don't want anybody to get embarrassed if someone would recognize who it is, or something like this. So I'm not going to go to the details. And that's a common situation, right? But there is a recognition. You identify the problem, and you give an opportunity to this person to change the paradigm, change it completely, 360. So that's what I wanted to share with you, that there was a dimension from the manager to be much more open and listen. And there was this opportunity to change that person's completely. And that person coming back, that's the thing that I want to share this morning to my client, and thank the client by saying to him, "You changed my life." And why did you change my life? Because nobody was listening to me. And I was, in fact, starting to lose respect for you, because you were so much into your agenda, into everything that was so distant from me, that I felt very excluded in this whole situation. And then, you know, all kind of things that she said, of recognizing how of a bad faith she had, and how really she did not realize how bad it was, and how the bad influence, in fact, impacted everybody. So now that I've finished that story, I wanted to invite you to think about two things, and I will close for today. One is, you are the owner of your space and of your time, much more than you were before. by being virtual if you are virtual. Amazingly, if you're not and have to go to work, have to go to a production line in a manufacturing plant, or if you are in a kitchen working with a chef or are the chef, but you have to be on premises or a hospital and be a nurse or work, on premises. What I'm trying to bring to you is that we learn from those two platforms, the platform of being on premises and being present, and this new one that developed over the last 2 years more than ever for so many people to live from home and work from home and use those those virtual tools and live in the cyberspace. It's unbelievable, the cloud, the cyberspace, very intangible things, but that now become tangible to the extent that people interact and talk to each other, and opening up, especially when you're one-on-one, and focusing on creating a space of trust as a manager or as someone who reports to someone at any position in the interaction and in the relationship. The intention is to create a new space and to make it positive, to make it sometimes undivided in terms of time that you spend with the person, and focus on that person. Care, show you care, and share this very special moment when it's about work or about relationship, to try to be open and create that space of trust beyond anything else. If you do that focus, I would even invite you to open a journal and write with a pen and your hand every day what you experience from this particular angle, that particular focus. Because when people journal it and read it back, maybe at the end of the week, and look at the notes and the stories and what that experience was all about, you realize little by little who you are and how you impact other people and how you can also change their lives. So it's not me here giving advice. It's sharing the experience I have by talking to people every day, by having this privilege to coach them or to mediate situations where people are in conflict, and see how much they do not communicate with each other, and see how much they do not listen to the other's point of view, and how much it's all missing, and that we have now this opportunity to connect in a better way and in a more meaningful way. And this is the opportunity we all have. So hopefully this is the theme I wanted to offer for tonight. I would like to invite you to come back next week. We'll have an incredible guest next week, and every week after that. Sometimes we don't have a guest because we are here in a very strict, disciplined way of broadcasting and streaming live on Wednesdays at 6:30 until 7 o'clock. And I used almost 50 minutes of your, no, yeah, 20 minutes of your time sharing all this with you tonight. And again, reiterating my invitation to subscribe on YouTube, and also asking you to visit our website, www.andrepolitzer.com or www.coachingpath.com, coachingpath in one word.com. And we're going to have some additional content going there. And we are just here to communicate our experience of how people can be incredibly connected and incredibly meaningful in their respective roles, and how they can play that role and be real leaders that understand and are aware and are completely conscious about how impactful they can be and how well they can get into people's well-being and contribute to positiveness. So this is what I wanted to share with you tonight. And thank you for your attention. And thank you for attending. And see you soon. Bye.